Mr. Sinister's slapstick silliness that is inherent in the character and is definitely a fan favorite.
Yes.
It's gonna be memed to death. The sequence of Mr. Sinister shooting people in the face with facehugger guns, and he even says it. But yeah, we see the heroes kind of like team up with a few characters that are like, oh hey, Wolverine, all right,
Yeah.
you know? And then we just go, oh yeah, and the characters we were with, some of them died, and they die off screen. We don't see what happens with that. Like Iron Man,
Well, we did see.
we see what happens to him.
Yeah.
We don't see how.
No.
We know why or how. But yeah, things are going bad. All of humanity, you know, the survivors they brought, they're all face hugged by Sinister. Maybe Spider-Man died. Probably not, though.
Probably not. I feel like there's something else going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you know, great art, but when you have a Ribic book,
yeah,
there are going to be some wonky faces. And this one had the wonkiest that I've ever seen in a Ribic book. Not to say that it's wrong or bad, just
really, you felt like this one had. No, I've seen plenty of that, and you just have to get over it.
You just have to get over it
because then you turn the page and you see something spectacular. I think I know what you're talking about because I turned the page and I was like,
"Whoa,
oh my god!"
Yeah, no, that's exactly
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually found this issue to be gripping. I thought it was funny because you were like, "You're gonna love this." And I'm reading it, and all of a sudden I get to the Sinister part, and I was like, oh, I do love it.
It's true.
I really appreciate the fact that Hickman's using mutants, Mars, and Sinister. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
This book continues to like shocking 100%. And like I thought for some reason, like Tony's like what happened to him, like his end reveal in a sense. That was really rough. I don't know why. Rough. Like that was in an emotional sense, not in a bad art sense, but in like I was like, oh, like listen, you see, like comic books are not the like a shocking place to see character death before, like, but like that I was like it was shockingly like real, and like very sad.
It was sad.
Yeah, this is a really good book.
Yeah, I agree. Loved it. Just a great series. Yes. Sad to see it go.
Yes.
So yeah, speaking of indie books,
yeah, let's do it. Let this one be a devil.
A true weird story
by James Tynan IV and Steve Fox with art by Piotr Kowalski. Now, cut to Tiffany scrolling through Comixology, buying her books, and seeing this phrase, let this one be a devil. And if you know, then you know.
Right.
Because if you're from New Jersey, more than likely, you know exactly what this book is about, and that's what it's about. This book's about the Jersey Devil.
Yay!
So obviously this is 10 out of 10 book of the week. I love this so much, and not just because it was about New Jersey. That helped.
I'm sorry.
But let's I opened this up. The art's amazing. It fits perfectly for the time because this takes place like in the early 1900s. But we do get the lore. We get Mrs. Leeds. We get Mother Leeds. Had 12 kids. 13th one. The birth is not going well, and as it is being born, she curses it like this one be a devil.
Yes.
And it was, and it is, and this is depicted really, really well. Leading into the mythos, like entirely about the Jersey Devil. We are in Pine Barrens. We're also getting like characters and story that is like surrounding. It's like here's the story that's going on about this family, and like you know, like dad worked in the factory. He died like early 1900s. Youngest son is going to take his job. Oldest son took to school, did really well, and he's like an editor, but he doesn't really fit in with his family anymore because he's an educated man. So you got this story going on, and then the Jersey Devil shows up, and I'm like, So yeah, like freaking so good,
right?
So good, so thrilled. Can't wait to read more of this. Enjoyed the backup as well. There's a little backup in here, along with the true weird story. It's all black and white, done really, really well though. It's like that black and white influenced by manga in a sense, where they're like using all sorts of gray tones and all that.
Sure.
But yes, guys, if you like cryptids at all, go pick this up. I bought this digitally. I am buying it physically as well as soon as possible. Because this is right up my alley. And it's not just because it's the Jersey Devil, but it kind of is.
Right, of course.
But it legitimately was excellent.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I know you were very excited.
I was like, I literally was like, Okay, here we go. This is the last book I read too. I was
Yeah.
like, it was like the
It's a little
treat.
treat.
It was
yeah.
my treat. I was like, I did all my work, and then it was time for a treat.
So yeah, you also checked out the Zatanna
I
series.
did. I checked out the new Zatanna series, Zatanna #1. This is part of the All In initiative. It's by Jamal Campbell all the
Wow,
way.
entirely by Jamal
and
Campbell.
drawn. Is very much a high flying adventure for Zatanna.
Mhm.
We, obviously just had Zatanna bringing down the house.
Yes.
It's not quite like that.
No.
Very different feel. More of a classic looking Zatanna. A little more established Zatanna, it feels like. But listen, a lot of cool stuff happens in this book. But we are talking about Jamal Campbell, and I don't want to diminish his writing abilities. But we are talking about Jamal Campbell here.
So it's going to be
the
spectacular.
rest of this
Review.
review for this book will be about the art. Because damn, this book looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's the kind of book you want to live in. Pretty.
Mm.
Like, oh my gosh.
That's a cover quote. You can have that.
I mean, again, this book's doing fun stuff, but like, just like Z looks exactly like you imagine she is meant to look like. The world is beautiful and fleshed out, and it's fun and high flying, and like when magic happens, it's really colorful and beautiful,
Yeah.
and just so much. And then on top of it all, they use this like device in which like there are movie posters, and like this ghost creates the worlds within them that come to life. She's got to save people. We have this one page with just these movie posters, and they're just all spectacular.
Ah,
They're all spectacular.
yeah.
Like yes, yes. It's just so good looking.
Yeah.
Like, it's so.
Can't get enough.
I can't get enough of this book. I want to eat it. I want to consume it so it becomes one with me.
That's fair.
Yeah, like I am looking forward to where the rest of this series goes. But the story is good. Is
Yes.
a good story. It is
Right.
absolutely a good
But
story.
the star
I can't. Oh.
is the art. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, moving right along, you also read Doom Academy.
I did also read Doom Academy.
Now, we've been talking about how you loved Strange Academy.
Love Strange Academy.
Different team.
Totally different team. Completely different team. It was written by Mackenzie Cadenhead with art by Pascal Ferry.
Oh no! Because Pascal Ferry did the Doctor Strange series that you actually quite enjoyed.
I love that series. It
From
was
Jed
it was a
McKay.
good series. Now my favorite,
and you also you don't
Doctor
love
Strange series.
Ferry.
I don't. Ferry's art is subjectively speaking completely subjective. It's just not my thing that I gravitate towards.
But a good pick. I mean, like if I were greenlighting Doom books about him being Sorcerer Supreme, and there was a Doctor Strange-esque book coming out, I'd pick the guy who did the book we canceled.
100%. So it's like, listen, like obviously there's a Strange Academy. Since he's Sorcerer Supreme, there's a Doom Academy. So let's go is basically kind of what happens.
Let's go.
We move it into Latveria.
Oh.
Like the Doom Academy is in Latveria. I will say this issue, I was not immediately into it, but by the end of it, I was in.
Oh wow.
It entirely focuses on Zoe, which I think is a great call. Zoe was in Strange Academy. She is like the zombie girl. Really great choice. I feel like there's a lot you can do with her.
Sure.
I appreciate the fact that like, okay, so everybody goes to Doom Academy, right? And obviously it's Dr. Doom and it's run by like, it's like, I'm Doom, right? What have you.
Yeah.
But all the students right now are like really digging it.
Oh no.
For the most part, because they really like the structure.
Oh sure.
I love the idea of students
like kids need
secretly
structure.
like wanting structure.
Yeah, they need the rigor.
Just
that's funny.
Literally
like look, Doom is a despot and a monster and a tyrant, but he
knows how to run a school, apparently.
He's a smart guy. You can't deny that.
I was like, that's really funny to me. So there's a new character, Scoop.
Okay.
Scoop, it runs the school newspaper. He's this little...
So he's the snapper car of Doom Academy.
He's a little pale, redheaded, freckle-faced boy.
Oh, he's Jimmy Olsen. Okay.
I'm like, I can't tell if that is a like really cute homage, or it's too on the nose, or it's a perfect red herring. I can't tell.
It's literally
too much. too much of a people pleaser, that one for sure. It's really interesting to me for right now to see certain magic users like Voodoo and Zelma completely fall in line and just be like, yep, I mean Doom Sorcerer Supreme, so we're moving to we're moving to Latveria and we're gonna keep the school going.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we're gonna see fallout from that, or we're to, like, there's no time for that.
Right.
Just understand the fact that the teachers are more interested in keeping the educational process going.
Right.
So maybe that just means total commitment. Zelma's also like in love with Doom's library.
Oh, sure.
She's like, oh my gosh.
Sure,
Also they keep using these like spells of silence so that Doom can't hear you. I'm like, okay. There's like all these posters everywhere, like Doom looking and watching. Yeah. But I'm like, there's no way that's working.
No. He's never listening. Yeah.
Overall, I mean, like, if you like Strange Academy, you'll probably enjoy this. It is directly related. They mentioned Emily, they mentioned all of it. So it's like, I'd say give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's going to look very different. It's going to look very, very different. But a lot of the spirit is still there.
Okay, cool. That sounds nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's it as far as everything else is concerned. Now we can talk about the elephant in the room.
Is it? Yep. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yes, then.
Yeah, we're good.
Good.
There's
Amazing
a lot
Spider-Man.
of books this week.
There was a lot of books, but we still managed to keep it within an hour. Amazing Spider-Man 68 from Justina Ireland and Andrea Braccardo. This is the issue where I was like, I finished reading it and I went like, I think Tiffany's going to understand what I'm talking about. Like, because it's like you usually give people the benefit of the doubt. When it comes to Spider-Man, I'm incapable of doing so. But I was like, this is like where you and I meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Where it was like, because my issue originally, where he's got the sleepy eyes. He's like, I'm just so sad, and I'm like, really? At this point, this is what makes you lose your cool. Like, this is where you lose your constitution at this point, for real. And you were like, well, you're a new reader, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And like, all that stuff. Then we get to this issue where all the things, all our speculation, all of our concepts, everything that we were like wondering about with this series come to a head.
Yes.
What do we do with the Reeds? What do we do about his depression / nihilism?
Yes.
What do we do about all this, that, and the other thing? Like, yeah, these are this book answers those questions, and it's not written by Joe Kelly, and it's and again, like, and you saw a thing recently where it was like, Justina Ireland has an audience,
yes,
and fans,
yes.
And this is not the best display of her work, but it's not her fault necessarily that this book is not working.
Yes. Yes.
So
the rest of my review of this is just going to be going
the word yes. So Aunt May and like a bunch of her friends at Feast, whose names I don't know and don't care about, die.
It's Shay and it's Shay and
Yep.
Robbie. Mm-hmm. Is it Robbie?
No, I think it's Randy. Yep.
Yeah.
They all die, and
which is like, okay, so hang on. What's really frustrating about that is how last issue they spent so much time yelling about how they didn't go inside, but they just wouldn't go inside. I'm just like,
we need them to do this. So they die, and he's like, "What? Wait, but that's for real though." And I'm triumphantly Spider-Man again. I'm like, get out of here. Like, if I cared, I would have had a stronger reaction. But I just went like, I'm Peter Parker now. I'm like, I hate Mondays. I'm just like, this is so lame. And it's just at this point, the book has become a shame. Like, it's a shame that it looks like this.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it has evoked this feeling. Like, you have really just broken the title at this point. Now, obviously, any book, I mean, literally, the next issue could be like, whoa! All they have to do is treat this like it's one of the top selling books of their lineup.
I concur. So, I've been kind of like in the middle of this, but this issue for me hit in a different way than what you're saying. Mm-hmm, so this is where you're talking about us meeting in the middle, but it's for different reasons, right? Because like literally I was like, I'm definitely more torn on this issue than I normally would be. Because it's like I like seeing characters like Spider-Man or like Batman, for example,
brought
have
down.
to deal with like magic stuff. I love them being
Sure.
faced with that, right? But the more I read this story,
Yes.
the more I recognize that this is not a Spider-Man story. This is a Doctor Strange story.
Right.
And what's frustrating to me is at this point in this story, in this issue,
Mhm.
and honestly many others, but in this issue in particular, there are no other magical characters that show up.
That's right.
And that for me, I can't abide. Like, Doc isn't there. I saw Doom on the cover for the next one or whatever one. Like, Doom's not there. There's no other magical characters that have stepped up and been like, excuse me, I
No.
feel like this is not what's supposed to be happening.
But the
I feel
X-Men
like
show
someone
up,
should
because
show
the
up.
X-Men.
But you know,
Because we're pushing X-Men.
but like, so like in terms of like magical books, like the whole story overall feels a better fit for not Spider-Man.
Right. Right.
Like,
Like you could
he's-
do the whole thing without like replace Spider-Man with Doctor Strange, and it's actually kind of engaging.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, like I just can't. Like,
So Aunt May and everybody die, and
oh,
so he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, give him the reeds, and now I'll die," and then he does, and
Yeah.
like everything that they've been building.
Yeah.
They go, "Oh, here's that thing we were building, and it's over."
Yeah, but
And here's that thing and it's over now.
we already knew it, right? So like my hope is that this is a red herring.
Yeah.
I know it's not.
No.
But like my hope would be that they were like, you knew that this was going to happen. That's not actually the twist. The twist is going to be something else.
Mm-hmm.
But like this whole what is it called? The Rot? It's not called The Rot. I was watching something about Elden Ring, so I keep thinking it's The Rot. The stuff that the guy's like that, he's got on him. You know what I mean? It's like infecting people,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. that's
Whatever
right.
this made up thing is
Uh-huh.
that it is. It just like feels like a non-twist.
Yeah.
And like if it were a more
The blight. Thank you.
the
Carl.
blight, thank you. That's like The Rot.
It is. Yeah.
It's all Trisha's fault. Thank you. Just get Trisha in here. That's a callback to my playing Elden Ring. But it feels like if this were a magically inclined book, the blight would have more of a meaning. But because it's a Spider-Man book, we don't have time for it to
Doesn't
have
matter. We
meaning.
got to focus on the
So
characters.
like it actually doesn't really make any sense to do it in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like additionally, I couldn't help but feel like Spidey's voice in this was
Ugh.
like a little too like Stan Lee, but without it actually being grandiose.
Mm-hmm.
Like he says things where I'm like my emotions, like it's just Troy
Yes.
Barnesing.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
My emotions.
Right, and it's
my
like, that would be one
emotions.
thing if like that was if he's still a nihilist, but he's like, oh no, I have to pretend to care. But that's like a thing. That's too dark, and it's too like
Yeah.
weird for what this is about.
So like it's rough because there was some interesting stuff for me, like when they were dealing with death, and now it just feels like they're just trying to get this to be over.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like,
Well, then why did you bother?
why did we do this then?
Yeah.
Other than because you wanted to make, how much was this book?
Like,
$4.99
mm-hmm.
from a lot of people.
Yeah. That's why we publish this book at all.
Right. And I understand it's a business, and that's why people charge money for
Yeah.
things, is because you like to make money from
Mhm.
them. But like sometimes you do that on top of doing something that isn't creatively bankrupt. And I'm
Right.
not saying that this is, because there were too many nuggets along the way for me
That were
like,
satisfying.
that
or at
were
very
like,
least
I was like,
creative.
oh, there's like something there.
Yes.
But it seems like you've thrown that all away.
Yeah.
And I'm truly disappointed by that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just don't know. Also, I felt like we're going back to the Reeds thing. I just want to go back to that really, really quickly,
Mhm.
because like to me, we all knew that was coming.
Yeah.
We all knew that was coming. And if you're not going to do something else on top of it, you may not, then you completely wasted that reveal. It didn't feel satisfying whatsoever.
No.
Like it was entirely like Spidey would do that.
Yeah.
Or it was just like, I don't care, just use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh no, I
absolutely.
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oops. Yeah.
But like that felt entirely Spidey, and yet completely did not satisfy me
Absolutely.
whatsoever.
No.
And like that was rough.
Yeah.
For me. But yeah, like it I don't know.
Yeah. It's just a shame.
It is just a shame.
Yeah. Yeah. And if anybody's curious as to like why we review a book that isn't terribly good, and not read it, it's because this is my job, and I like this series, and I like want it to be good. So you know, think about that for a little while. We're a review company, but yeah. So 8 deaths, meh. But actually, I think that speaking of the last hour's worth of show, they're overwhelmingly positive. A lot of good books out there, so you're okay as far as Spider-Man's concerned. So I guess it's time to think about the book of the week. In my case, I have a real problem here because there's a lot of books that are fantastic that I want to pick. Would it be Storm, this book that surprised the hell out of me? Would it be AVA, a book that I never thought was possible? Is it New Gods, a book that knocked me off my feet? Should X-Force finally get its due? I think we actually did one time give X-Force.
It did. It absolutely did. No, it did. I give an X-Force it.
But
and if I haven't, it has my heart. But I have. Yeah. I believe I have.
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's I think I want to give it to Aliens versus Avengers because it's just such a miracle of a book. Like,
yes.
It shouldn't exist. No one should be I can't believe they're still making this book or that they ever got through to make this and the creative team involved.
Yeah.
So I'll give it to AVA.
Okay, that's fair. I have an impossible challenge.
It's so impossible.
This is not fair. New Gods was spectacular.
Yep.
Power Fantasy is just powering through my heart. It's doing such a great job. I actually Doom Academy won me over this week for sure. So it really comes down to two other books though. One of them is only my favorite book of the week. Top of the other one. It's not actually going to be it, but Let This One Be a Devil obviously gets super extra points for being based on the Jersey Devil, and also being not there's too many horror books out there where it's just maybe the art isn't top tier or the writing isn't great, but it's it was great writing, the art was really well matched to the story, and it's about the Jersey Devil. But then Zatanna #1 came out.
Yeah.
And that art is I couldn't even explain to you in words how good it is. So I think it's going to be Zatanna #1, even though it really should be Let This One Be a Devil.
Well, congratulations.
Just put the other one in too. It's both of them this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm doing a twofer.
All right.
I mean, but also this.
Yeah.
Just yes. Look at this cover. Come on.
Yeah. So jumping into the super chats today. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Why don't you kick it off?
Oh, me? My goodness. Cat Lawyer will defend for treat saying, I loved What If Disney Team was Fantastic Four? Okay. And I just realized that they even did the Sue Storm runs out on a friend for no reason bit. These books are funny.
Oh, that's cool. Based on the nature of this book, I would never have given it a
That's fair. Oh, hey, by the way, really quickly, I did check out a little of, not really, I did a practice with Johnny and The Thing in Marvel Rivals,
which you can check out on youtube.com at Comic Pop Plays.
That's right. The Thing has a trench coat costume.
Good.
It's with the the suit and everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And he's got a great voice. And he feels really heavy. And he calls Susan Susie.
Yeah, of course.
I love it.
Rishi Venkatesh, R.I.P. Two-Face Solo, you will be sorely missed. Yes, I thought that was supposed to be a miniseries anyway, but it was ended. So yeah.
Shadow Anderson saying, got paid today, so here you go.
You,
as a Nightwing and Daredevil fan, I'd love to see them meet in the new crossovers.
Yeah, it's funny. Vasco Georgiev noticed that people, that they made this announcement, and so he posted all those covers that he did for all those series on, I think it was Twitter.
Yeah.
But one of the things that was the thing I want to see, because I want to see a Batman and Spider-Man team up, but people are like, yeah, but Nightwing and Spider-Man. And I'm like, yes. Miles and Nightwing, and he did that, and I was like, "That's something I'd like to see."
Okay.
Matt Fisher says, "I feel like we missed an issue. Peter just goes from bleh to oh no, Aunt May." I know.
Even with those half issues.
Yeah. Well, and the next issue we're getting is a dot dead.
I know.
Which can dot bite me.
Alex Sanchez says, I wonder if Hickman's Imperial announcement means he's essentially done with architecting the Ultimate Universe. They make it seem like Imperial is a line-wide initiative like Hox Pox. Be sad if true.
I think that it's going to be like an event. And yes, I'm almost certain that he's going to hand everything to Dennis Matthew
guess I'll be
Terlaga,
doing
have you heard the Anna announcement about Marvel bringing Gwen
The-
Stacy back?
the
The
announcement.
I'm sorry. Making her a mutant and making her a villain. She's going to be Dark Gwenpool. We clearly do live in the darkest timeline. Yeah, I saw something to that effect. I said it was really stupid, and people agreed. Like,
I don't understand what's going on in the House of Spider-Man.
no, it's like they hate the character or the audience. I'm not sure which. And it was frustrating as the audience seems to be like, pee on me, because they're like, well, it's still the #1 book, so it always sells. Hayden Hamilton.
Says, who would you have write Spider-Man or be on art?
That's a good question. There's tons of amazing artists out there and writers, and I feel like Dan Moore would be a great pick for Spider-Man at this point.
Yeah.
Though Pepe Larraz is a good choice as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Dan Moore is the one where it's like, get people excited, get people talking.
Yeah, that's fair.
As far as writing, I mean, any number of writers are fantastic. I if I were the editor, I would let Chip Zdarsky do it because he knows what he's doing. And but like, not to be outdone, I mean, I feel like Joshua Williamson would do a fantastic job in Spider-Man.
Oh, very nice. That's you.
Little Lions Everywhere says, hey, not sure why, but I've always liked the idea of Nightwing meeting Spider-Man. Hope you get some really good art out of these one-shots. Well, we're only getting the 2. I'm getting 2 books. I have to imagine the art will be spectacular. Hopefully no one from the Spider Office is editing those books.
Auto Johnny, did you hear about the new Starfire animated series, My Adventures with Green Lantern and Superworks?
Yes, I heard about all those things. They seem like they are not going to be for me, but good for them. Josh Rowland, at this point, I think Jimenez just wants to do Batman. I dropped the book after Chip ended his run, but I'll check out this new run with Fraction. All right. Yeah.
Rishi Venkatesh saying, you heard about the Miles Ultimate crossover?
Yes, there's a big Ultimate crossover with Miles going to the Ultimate Universe, but this new Ultimate Universe, and it's written by Dennis Camp, of all people. Could you believe it? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to stick around for as long as the people who are writing the books I like
Yeah,
in
me
that
too. No,
universe,
I'm
and
enjoying
then
it.
I will probably bail.
Yeah, I'm gonna bail. Hayden Hamilton says, do you have a favorite episode of Back Issues? Why? I mean, I like so many. They're all my children. I love them all equally.
That's not true. There has to be one that you like better.
I'm very pleased with how the Fantastic Four episode came out, the most recent one.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
that's my
I like
favorite
the
for now.
Sailor Moon one
That's a fantastic
because we
episode.
built a whole set.
Yeah, we built a set.
We're actually sitting in where the set used to be.
Yeah. We that's a great set, great episode, great hosting. I would have done a few things differently, technically wise, but
Okay.
yeah, I'd love to do that again. That'd be great. Logan Thomas.
Logan Thomas says, until Amazing Spider-Man gets better, renew your vows is my headcanon. Also, happy late birthday, Ben, and congrats, Sal, on the new Terminator comic.
Thanks. Yeah, it's almost over. The last issue was supposed to come out a week ago and might come out May 12th or March 5th or 12th. Nobody knows.
Dang.
Hulkzilla, speaking of Tom King's Wonder Woman, I immediately bought the first 2 volumes shortly after watching the back issues episode covering it. Worth the purchase. Nice.
Nice.
That's great. I'm glad you enjoy it. I should also point out, by the way, I did do a backup for Terminator. After issue 5, I'm off the book.
Yeah.
The book is going to continue. Declan Shalvey is going to continue to write it, but I am no longer contributing to this Terminator series after issue 5.
That's right.
If you are only buying it for me, now's the time to stop buying it.
Well, after 5.
After 5.
Noah S. says, with the theory that someone will die in the Ultimate Spidey book and the release pages for the new issue, I'm really starting to think it's going to be Peter or Richard. What are y'all's thoughts?
I don't think about it. I don't think about that book.
I actually don't
I try
either.
very hard not to think about that.
But I appreciate the comment anyway. But like that book, I'm just kind of like letting it happen.
Yep, that's
just
right.
Let it happen.
That's right. Rishi Venkatesh, I liked some of Tom's work in the past. They're famously hit or miss, but I don't love his Wonder Woman still waiting for a run as much as Rucka's. It's night and day. Rucka
That's
and
very
Tom's are
fair.
completely different.
But that's so funny because it's like for me, I also really enjoyed like what I read of Rucka's. And it's just like it's mythology versus not mythology, and that's what it comes down.
What's his name?
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm thinking about Azarella's.
Yeah. Rucka's book is good.
Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah. Alexandre Debon Brassard says, thanks, Sal and Tiff, for reminding me to read Question Psyched for the Gwenpool, but miffed Marvel leaned on resurrecting Gwen instead of new Gwenpool series. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, don't buy it.
I just feel like the entire, maybe it's just like the Spidey office is just like, we just get you mad and then you buy it. I mean, like, you're just going to buy it.
Yeah.
You want to know, don't you? You're just going to buy
won't.
it. Well, because like, not enough, like, people want to know.
Yeah.
Just don't know.
Yeah.
Drew Markham saying, thank you guys for the education, laughs, and perfectly timed Back to the Future references. Thinking about getting into Busick's Superman. Good idea?
Yeah, Busick's a great choice. Zilly Goes says, I've been doing my own weekly haul reviews and spotlights on creators. I appreciate. Do you have any pointers for someone who wants to do a better job at being critical of comics? Appreciate constructive criticism. Just be honest and don't think about what they want. Just think about what you want to say.
Cash Money in the Bank
Hey.
saying, did y'all see they're shutting down the Dark Horse digital comic store? Stopped sales today. Apps stop working in a month. Website in a year. Access to all books purchased are going away. What?
That sucks. And it's also the nature of digital comics. That's digital purchases. If you
I wish they were there. I'm just renting them.
Maybe 900. A compromise must have been made where whoever wanted to probably had to let Colossus go. I don't like what they're doing with Colossus. Just making this good book.
There must be one X-Men who's like
one beloved X-Man who is put through the ringer and made a douche.
Yeah, that's right. Nightcrawler, we're coming for you next.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Fisher says the 8 deaths has been going on 8 issues too long.
That's fair. Dex Baker, I'm walking into a movie now, so I gotta go. But if you share your Cat 4 review later, what are your chances for a live show for it? I don't know. We'll see, though.
Girk Pectus saying, are you excited about the Gunn DC Deathstroke Bane movie announced? I think Gunn works best with morally great characters, so I am excited.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that's all about. Gunn wants to make a Bane and Deathstroke crossover movie. What?
Okay.
Why those two? What do they have to do with each other?
Reasons.
What a weird idea. Danby900 says, I'm sure they will correct it for the trade, but it was weird how Wolverine's beard was inconsistently colored in the issue. The faces were wonky. Yeah, I didn't notice, but that's fair. It is wonky.
Rishi Venkatesh saying, that Zatanna page at the DC Tarot, though. Yeah, really good. Really, really good. And wondering if that's going to mean anything or it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah. Matt Fisher, when are we getting Tiffany's Super Heavy or Sal's JLA World War III review? Those episodes of back issues will happen sooner than later, but probably not very soon. We'll see. It's still things we got to get to.
Oh, Dan V900 saying, with the new announcements, I never thought we would get a Starfire or Jessica Cruz animated series before a Wonder Woman animated series. Just odd. The Wonder Woman video game is now years away too and in trouble. Yeah, that was like, they shouldn't have announced that.
No, they should not have.
Should not have announced that.
But yeah, man, the other reason is because that Wonder Woman animated movie that they made, nobody freaking bought it. And that was what needed to happen. It was a good movie too. I liked that a lot. Typical Spider. Hey, Soundtive. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man surprised me. It was still this strange version that replaces most of his sidecast, but it is definitely more like what I wish MCU Spider-Man was like. Also, one of my buddies who stopped buying comics years ago told me that he will be purchasing all the Marvel DC crossovers and their variants.
Nice.
Thank you guys for everything you bring to the comic community.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, see, that's why they did it, and that's something they need to understand. But yeah, I appreciate what they're doing. I saw the whole series. It's fine. I didn't hate it, and I liked it more as it went. But yeah, I wish they would like live in it. I wish they would play with it. Like I like the MCU overall. I wish that Spider-Man could I don't know. It's a weird situation, but I'm hopeful. There might be a Spider-Man reference in the upcoming Daredevil show in terms of the
but
same.
How would they? I guess they could.
No, they can say they can.
They just don't remember him.
Well, yeah, Spider-Man exists. They remember him.
True. Yeah.
But they're doing it in the same way that they did it in the next Netflix series, where Spider-Man will be alluded to, but it'll be more of a. There was more direct references to Spider-Man in Doctor Strange 2 than there will be in Daredevil.
Okay. Dan V900 is saying rereading Day Tripper before trying ASM was a mistake.
Yeah,
oh no.
Armed Armadillo, shout out to Ben predicting the mini shrapnel bat shotgun. I don't remember that, but good for him.
That sounds like something he would do.
No doubt.
Kirk Beck is saying, you think MCU Rogue should start evil? I love a redeem.
Yeah, maybe not evil, but definitely
confused.
Confused. Made it for Hey Sound Tiff. Hope you're well. Aquaman
you.
and New Gods are my picks. Have you ever had a chance to play the Marvel Champions living card game? Cheers. No.
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 Hey, you with the face. Hi, Sal. Would you give Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man another shot, or the show is just not for you?
No, I like it well enough. I certainly like it better than Ultimate Spider-Man, which is just gross. Yeah, it took some getting used to, but I liked it well enough. Like there's some issues that I have with it, but it's not a terrible show.
Okay.
Stuart Flowers. After watching the new show with you and Ben and Ethan, I now want a Daniel Warren Johnson Army of Darkness. Oh my God,
yeah, that would be good. Matt Fisher saying might be moving to a country with no shops. What are good digital comic apps?
Well, there is a website called Hoopla that I understand you can use as like a digital library kind of situation. Unfortunately, the quickest, easiest, and most direct way to do it is Comixology, which is its own double-edged sword.
But it is better now. You can buy comics in the app again. Like, so you can purchase it within the Kindle app.
Yes.
Now.
However, there is another solution for you, and it is to subscribe to Marvel Unlimited and DC Universe Infinite. Those two are like a subscription-based system where you can read the catalogs. New books go up, I think, 3 months after they come out. So if you don't feel too bad being behind a little bit, that's the way to do it. It's the most successful, I think, way to do it.
But if you're like me and you like reading books by Dark Horse, IDW, Boom, Image, then you're going to want to go Comixology, and you'll get them as soon as they come out.
Exactly.
And sometimes they do sales, too, on older back issues.
That's right. Extremely Disfigured. Sorry, get well soon. Thoughts on the new Batman by Matt Fraction? We shared them. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Matt Fisher back to say, rejoice! Matt Hagen is back, and in Batman and Robin Year 1.
Nice. That makes sense. There's some synergy there. Tea Time 480. Hello. Hope you're both well. Did you hear Batman 2's script isn't done, but they're supposed to shoot it at the end of the year? I've heard they're working on it. James Gunn had like an official policy that he wouldn't announce projects without an announcement, Batman being the big exception to that. I hear they're working on it. I hear that Andy Muschietti has to look at it like after it's finished, which is a shame. Hopefully they'll move on with a different director. I'm hopeful. I trust them at this point.
Chub Bub Dreamer saying, hey, thanks to back issues, I went and got Batman Universe.
Nice.
If I want to read a current super book, is it better to go with Action Comics or Superman?
I think Superman, but I am a little biased. Because, A, fantastic art. B, it is kind of a throwback series, but it is certainly tied in with the current continuity, and it builds towards what's happening with everything in current DC.
Oh, absolutely.
Caden McGregor, here's some support. Thanks for the great shows. Thanks, Caden. Appreciate it, man.
Tea Time 480 ahead of Born Again coming out. I was wondering if D'Onofrio really was a diva meeting in person.
Yes, he was.
Didn't mention it.
No, we didn't meet him. We dealt with him.
Yes.
He was a diva, like they say. Typical Spider, what do you think of the Tombstone stuff in the show? It's fine. I actually think it's more earned than some other villain rises in other cartoons, but it's weird. It's a weird show. I'm not sure I'm fully sold on it.
Matthew Terlaga saying it was nice. It was thanks to you guys talking about it that I checked out Human Target. I devoured both volumes and am praying it shows up on the couch.
Yeah, I hope so too. I've got other books to deal with, but I would like to talk. Tea Time 480. I couldn't stand Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but I'm looking forward to you and DJ chatting about it. Also, did you see the Andor trailer? Looks awesome. I need to talk to DJ about that. I'm going to do that on Wednesday, and I did see the trailer. It's incredible. Andor is for me. It's the original trilogy, and then Andor.
Wow.
Those are it easily kicked Mandalorian's ass.
Wow.
I love Mandalorian 1.
The first season. Yeah. First season of Mando was really good.
Yeah. But Andor, it's just better.
It's really well shot, too.
Andor is better than the movie that spawned it. Every time I see a thing for Andor, I'm like, wow, what a good show. They should make a movie about this. And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. They made one. It was Rogue One. That was okay. But yeah, Andor's great. But yeah, that's it. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Listen, before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out youtube.com/compopplays and youtube.com/comicpop for more comic pop goodness. Tiffany streams on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. What are you streaming?
Marvel Rivals.
Marvel
I mean,
Rivals,
we
baby.
finally have the 4.
Fire to him lately that's kind of working everywhere right now. But then I remember, oh, Williamson's doing really good work on Superman too. And wait, that's Dan Mora. And this is a culmination of that Doomsday stuff he's been doing. And an absolute one. I can't really decide on this. This might be a week of decision, really.
See, I'm in a similar dilemma because I'm looking at Justice League and I'm thinking, oh, hell yeah. But I also haven't caught up to Absolute Wonder Woman yet. And boy. And then even you bring up Williamson's Doomsday stuff. And I gotta tell you, that had me gripped.
Yeah. Yeah. I think last time I went with Ultimate Spider-Man, and that was not the pick. So I think this time around, I'm going to hitch my wagon to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Hick your wagon.
Sorry?
Hick your wagon. Hickman your wagon.
Okay. All right. I missed it. I feel like there's something really special with this run, and I really love that issue 6. So I'm going with TMNT, but I think we all know that any of these books could steal the week.
It literally is like my pick of the week will probably be determined on the show next week.
Yeah, that's a very real possibility.
Speaking of next week, this week, I should say, this week, Pals Pulls will be on Wednesday. So you only have 2 days from now to wait. Make sure you show up Wednesday at 6 p.m. The reason for that is that Tyler and I will be guest appearing on the Near Mint Condition channel on Thursday at 6-ish, our usual time. So we'll be over there. So you come here to watch Pals Pulls Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And when you do that, those won't be the only books we'll be talking about, because there will be one more book, and that's the one chosen by you through the Pals poll, which you can find at youtube.com/thecomicspals under the posts tab. And there are what I think are 4 really quality books, or potential quality books, on the docket. Metamorpho number 3, which is really dragging up the rear. I'm surprised by that. The Seasons number 2, that's Rick Remender's book. The debuting Red Hulk number 1, and Green Lantern number 20.
Are you excited for a Red Hulk book, Sean?
I was going to say, what's the deal with this Red Hulk book, and why is it over Metamorpho? What the hell's going on there?
Because it's Ben Percy and Jeff Shaw on it. That's why.
It's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So the Red Hulk, there was a teaser to it in one of the more recent Incredible Hulk issues. It was like an anniversary issue, like a milestone or whatever. It was interesting. It was definitely interesting. It ties into this One World Under Doom story that we're dealing with. So that's all I will say about that. We'll have to read the rest to find out. But man, I hope the Seasons wins. I had a lot of fun with the Seasons last time. So
I voted for Red Hulk. I am a Ben Percy guy, and Red Hulk's cool.
would you have thought you ever would have said those words that one time I made you read the Jeff Loeb run?
Yes, because I liked Red Hulk before that.
McGinnis,
I just
yeah.
hated that. I hated that run. I thought it was pretty rough. But those are the books that you can vote for, so make sure you get your vote in. Last week we had almost our record number of votes for Zatanna at that. So if we did that for Zatanna, I think we can go hard for this crop of books as well. Make sure to cast your vote. Let's take a look, though, at leagueofcomicsgeeks.com and see what else is dropping. Because this, like we said, this is a pretty big week. So big that not all of the big books could fit between our Pals Pulls docket and the poll. So let's dive right in. Now, I'm going to kick us off because this is a book that I really, really wanted to get on the docket, but just couldn't find the space for it. And that's Fantastic Four 29. So, yeah, Corey Smith is joining Ryan North on this one, and Corey Smith is great. She-Hulk is going to be making a guest appearance in this one. Of course, she's been a regular in the rotation of the Fantastic Four over the years. And the FF are in doom mode. They need to figure out how to stop this guy. And, well, She-Hulk isn't necessarily going to help them do that. But what they are going to do is fight some vampires. Ryan North always delivers the goods with this book. So even though they're going a little bit backwards with the vampire stuff, I am still looking forward to it.
Well, I guess that does clear up a plot point at the end of Blood Hunt that this was all kind of orchestrated to get Doom the Sorcerer Supreme title. So at least we're kind of getting some kind of continuation of that story thread, which, fine. It's been a year. I would like to go up and call out Detective Comics by Tom Taylor and Michael Janin.
Oh yeah, how has that been?
I caught up on it. It's very interesting. It deals with these kind of wayward youths throughout Gotham that are being killed and having their blood drained. And Batman, tries his damnedest to try to make sure they're safe, and he can't. And at the same time, there's actual Bruce Wayne stuff happening in this. Like, Bruce Wayne has a storyline where he meets like this girl that he knew as a kid. They're a thing. But now the Batman and the Bruce Wayne of it all are crossing over in maybe bad ways. Which is like, I don't know the last time I read that dynamic in a Batman book. Everything's so Batman-centric lately. It's rare that I see, I don't know, Batman hook up with someone, Like, that used to be something so popular in comics. Besides, Catwoman and Selena and stuff. But, like, as Bruce Wayne, be Bruce Wayne a bit. I think it's kind of cool. And it's Michael Janin, who I really, really enjoy.
Yeah, this run has been pretty hot. I can't lie. Yeah, very good stuff.
I'm still looking at Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, the longest title on the planet. This is a Valentine's Day issue, and a lot of the ads that I've been seeing say, the Joker's got a big date for Valentine's or whatever. And even the solicit is one great big typed out giggle, and that's funny. But the kicker for me, and what really I think, well, I hope is going to make this interesting, is Bill Sienkiewicz is going to be on art for this, and that's going to be nuts.
Bill Sienkiewicz is one of my favorite artists of all time.
Yeah.
So in a way, he does kind of tie into that Tim Saliness of it all. In like non-traditional art at the time that they were, both doing some stuff. And yeah, man, I'm off the boat on this one, but I might have to hop back in. There's also a Rob Liefeld variant, which I thought was kind of funny.
Ooh, let's we'll go ahead and Google that.
It's in there. If you just click in League of Comic Geeks, it'll show you the variants too.
Oh yeah, it sure will.
I'll
Man's
put
got
it on the
his
slide.
choppers on him. Damn.
Woof.
That looks like Freaky Fred from Curse the Cowardly Dog.
I like it. That's like one of the first Rob Liefeld variants that I can think of. Where I'm like, wow, that's something I would buy. I might actually get that variant.
It's not bad. I mean, I feel like the shape of the Batman head is kind of the way I would draw a Batman head. I don't know if that's good or bad, or
You're
who
not
that's good or bad for.
Man, I gotta pick back up on this. I missed out on the Becky Cloonan issue too. You know, like, all right, this is something I'm gonna have to.
Someone said, I think the last time we did a previews, that it was still doing it. Like, it's still decent.
I've enjoyed it the whole way through so far.
Okay, maybe it was you then.
Yeah, I like the book quite a bit. Speaking of books I like quite a bit, though, the Department of Truth 28 is dropping, and you know this to me is one of the best comics around. But if you're reading it, you know what I'm saying when I say that it takes a lot of breaks inside of its run. So like non-Martin Simmons drawn issues don't propel the plot forward. They fill in details of the past. And that's not a problem. Like the most recent couple dealt with Marilyn Monroe. And I thought that was awesome and brilliant. But if I had to critique the book, it does kind of hurt the propulsion of the series that every couple of issues, it seems, they kind of shift gears. So I'm excited for Martin to come back and to keep the momentum forward with the A plot.
Well, one thing I will give Tanyan though is that it at least colors the world. There's that book Bigfoot, issue that we read or special, that like all this is really dealing with conspiracies and cryptids and shit. So you can have room to play around there. But I'm also with you, Sean. I'm excited to see the actual main story happen because they left it off on some really interesting plot points that I'm like Coppola is involved now too, I think. So it's exciting.
The director?
Oh yeah. It's
okay.
It's about the public image that is being displayed for the American public and how they can control that.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Like the moon landing in Kubrick also talked about in this.
I got to get on this book.
Everybody needs. It's a crazy ass.
I don't know why everyone doesn't read this book. Like on the League of Comic Geeks, it should be above all these books.
I have a copy with like the signed book plate. The first volume. I've just never gotten to it.
Can I go up a little bit real quick? I want to talk about Green Arrow. Green Arrow, I caught up on this. I've been trying to catch up on stuff because we're doing this show, and I want to be able to speak to things. So I caught up to Green Arrow, and it's good. I like it. It's different than I was used to with Green Arrow and his family, and he's kind of like this father figure, and it's kind of a swashbuckling story. No, this is Green Arrow fighting the 1% as like a vigilante in Coast. It's Star City. And the current story deals with Ace. I think it's Ace Chemicals or something adjacent to that, polluting this city and causing cancer everywhere, and never actually getting any repercussions from it because the government just bailed them out. And it's Oliver was on the board of directors at the time all this happened. So he's kind of reconciling with his past too. It's really good. There's like no supporting cast here. Black Canary shows up occasionally, but it really is just Oliver Queen just doing hard vigilante detective work. And it's different than what I'm used to, so I'm enjoying it.
That makes perfect sense considering the place that Green Arrow was left in, coming off the heels of Absolute Power.
Yeah.
And I've heard good things about this. It's got Chris Condon, so I've been wanting to go back and catch up. Maybe I'll do that, but I think what's more likely is that when the next arc starts, I'll jump on.
It's got Montos art too, Sean.
Yeah.
So that art's real good.
Yeah, I'd probably pick up after Absolute Power just because that seems like a real good jumping on point.
Totally.
I'm gonna call out Ultraman and X Avengers #4. To be honest, I haven't read this since the #1 we did. But listen, I have to call it out at least. It's Ultraman, it's Ultra 7, I think that is. Yes.
Okay, I was going to ask that. Yeah.
And they're going to punch Galactus. That fucking rules.
Yeah, I didn't keep up with this. I think I bought the second issue, but I haven't read it yet. I wanted to keep up, but there's just so many good comics right now.
That's it.
But I can definitely vouch to the quality of the first one. That first issue was rock solid. So if this is up your alley, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, like take it from, Sean, a Marvel head, and me, an Ultraman head. Like, that book had no right to be as good as it was. And that it's still going is crazy.
Hell yeah. Speaking of crazy, Knights is dropping its 13th issue this week, and you might have heard that this series was actually just picked up to be made into a television show. So that's a beautiful thing. This issue, number 13, they say through the solicit, is a perfect jumping on point for new readers, which, I mean, my God, I can't think of better synergy. They just announced the show.
Yeah.
Now it's a jumping on point. And you know what? I might have to jump on. Let me read quickly the synopsis so that we all understand what this is about. Following the events of last season's violent finale, we turn the clock back to the 1970s where rookie Chimera agent Suku Mari investigates the rise of dangerous magical oddities and artifacts from the blistering cold of Estonia to the boiling decadence of Las Vegas. The journey will lead him on a collision course with a vampire girl that will have ripple effects of lost decades. Before we move forward, we have to go back. The dark path lies ahead. Welcome to season 2. Wow, that sounds like my 20s. Amazing.
Yeah, meeting a vampire girl that'll lead you into the boiling decadence of Las Vegas. Listen, we all had that. We know.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to call out something a little that I only discovered right before we started recording this. Godzilla vs. America, Chicago #1. This is a series of one-shots that pits Godzilla against different cities. And the creative teams are people from that city. So this one has a Ryan Brown cover, who's noted Chicagoan guy from Chicago. Tim Seeley is writing it, also written by Ezra Clayton Daniels, Mike Costa writing some as well. Caroline Cash, Eisner Award-winning Caroline Cash, is doing some art in this as well, which is exciting. She had done Pee Pee Poo Poo, which won an Eisner last summer. So I think the idea, the premise is wacky, and I kind of dig that. I want to see. I don't even know if they'll do New York. I mean, they kind of have to do New York,
It feels. I hope we get that the Spider-Man bridge scene that Pete used to shout about on the show. That we don't have to go about. We don't have to go through here, but we all know it.
Yeah, that could be fun. I mean, I hope if they do New York, they bring back the design from the movie that was set in New York.
Yeah.
But draw what's his face, Ferris Bueller in the book.
Have any of us checked out Arcbound?
Is that the Venom? Not the Venom. Who's the actor?
Tom Hardy. Yes.
Tom Hardy book. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So Tom Hardy and Scott Snyder and Frank Thierry all teamed up for Arcbound, which is, I mean, let's be honest, is a vehicle that they are hoping will be turned into some kind of film or television project that Tom Hardy can play the lead in. And, I don't know if it's good. I haven't actually checked it out yet, so I don't want to disparage it. I am curious, though, to hear from somebody who has read this. I passed because I thought we were out of that era of comics where you could feel the please make a movie of this.
Here's an IP, yeah.
Right. But some of those turned out to be decent. So maybe this is one of them. I would love to hear from somebody who has checked out Arcbound.
Holy Roller was another similar kind of.
I was gonna say your boy's doing one of those. It's not we're not out of that woods yet.
All right, but can I get some credit though because that shit was on the rack this week and I walked past it.
Look at you. Turn the other cheek.
I'm not giving you credit for something you shouldn't do in the first place.
All right. All right. I'll accept that. That's fair enough. So if we're all set, if we don't have any more call outs, Kale, did you want to take the spotlight?
No, I did it last week.
Oh, that means
I got it.
Tyler's up.
I got
All
it.
right.
Yeah, I have it ready. I have it ready. All right, so this week I wanted to call out a book that I picked up on Kickstarter years ago. And this is a book called Maddie. It's written by somebody called Duncan Jones. You might know Duncan Jones as a director. Directed Moon and the Warcraft movie. Also the son of David Bowie. So Maddie is
that Duncan Jones.
Yeah, there you go. You got in through Bowie. Yeah. So Maddie is a graphic novel set in the world of Moon, to kind of continue that idea. But a whole bunch of all the issues are pretty much done by different artists. I'm trying to bring up the artist list here, but let me read the synopsis in the back real quick. Maddie Preston, a veteran of Britain's elite special operations J Squad unit, is burnt out and up to her eyeballs in debt. She and the rest of her team have been retired from the military and are now trapped, having to pay to maintain the legacy of the technology the Army put into their bodies. They're working as mercenaries, selling their unique ability to be remote controlled in corporate wars across Europe, but the missions are taking their toll. The specialists puppeteering them don't seem to care that Maddie and her team are human beings in harm's way, and she's had enough. Maddie takes an off-the-books job that should finally emancipate her and her sister, but when her target turns out to be a kid, she suddenly blacks out, and you'll see. It's a really interesting book. You can't buy this deluxe version anymore. I think that was a Kickstarter exclusive. But look at the artist list here. So Glenn Fabry, Duncan Fegredo, Jacob Phillips, Andre Arahu, Chris O'Halloran, Simon Bisley, Tonki Sonjic, Christian Ward, David Lopez, Annie Wu, Arm Guerra, James Stocco, Pia Guerra. There's a crazy amount of good artists on this. And it's
Fair.
high sci-fi, hard sci-fi war book with a little bit of familial family heart to it. It's on Amazon. It's on shops. It's put out by Z2 Comics. So it's not a major publisher. And I'm not even sure if Z2 still publishes it, but it's still accessible. I looked. I checked. It's a good book. I like Duncan Jones. Moon is one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. I highly recommend that movie, if anything. And I am an apologist for the Warcraft movie. I think he did some good work there.
Hell yeah, dude.
Listen, it's David Bowie's kid.
Got him.
And you mentioned Jacob Phillips. I mean, you can't overlook how talented Jacob is.
This is years before, because this came out, I want to say, maybe a decade ago, if I'm being honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sick. Well, thank you for that recommendation, Tyler. We gave you guys a bunch of information about books that we are reading, books that we are interested in, and we want to hear from you. Let us know about the books that you are excited about that are dropping this week, some stuff that maybe we're missing out on that we should be aware of. Leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.
See you Wednesday.
The Marvel Universe is united under Dr.
a property as important as X-Men. I do think he has his faults. I don't think he has great ideas. I don't think he particularly cares, but he's kind of already admitted that. But the one thing I cannot take away from Tom Brevoort is that he is pretty transparent. He's got this Substack newsletter, puts out tons of information, answers all kinds of questions. And in fact, I will put this out there. Of all the Substack newsletters, like personal blogs out there from comic book creators and editors, this is amongst the best. You know, it's kind of like this. It's the man with the hat, you know, which is Tom Brevoort. It's the Joe Casey Substack, stuff like that, that are really the cream of the crop as far as providing you some information and some insight into some of the, you know, leadership and decision-making process that goes on at Marvel Comics, which I do greatly appreciate. And this week he got some questions and basically admits something that we've all talked about. We're all like, it really feels like comic books have been dumbed down. Like we're not doing anything exciting. We don't go to other worlds, you know, and all that stuff. It feels like everything's just like a movie pit. These are supposed to be streaming shows rather than comic books, which really have, you know, no production budget on them. When you think about the actions that take place within the story, obviously there's a production budget when it comes to the artist and the inker and the colorist and the letter and the writer and all that stuff. There is a production budget and the editors associated with it. But the actions itself and the things that you can do, you can literally do anything in a comic book because there are no sets. The artist gets to interpret what the story's going to be and make it as big and awesome as it could be. And we aren't really getting that in comic books. And Tom Brevoort kind of answers that in his latest Substack newsletter. Someone asked him, over the past few weeks, I've been building my Lego X Mansion. It's occurred to me along the way that it represents the version of the X-Men that has the most mainstream recognition from the cartoon, other licensed products, etc. What was the thinking, therefore, behind not going with as close as possible an approximation of this version for the big relaunch last year, talking about X-Men from the Ashes? This is what Tom Brevoort, senior Marvel editor and X-Men group editor, said. X-Men 97 and the Lego X Mansion is based on the X-Men of a particular era, an era that fans were very vocally afraid things would be shifting back to when the progressive Krakoa era had run its course. But the purpose of Marvel Publishing is to be out front, the tip of the spear, generating new ideas and new stories that can serve as creative fodder for eventual film and animation development. So trying to revert things to 1992 or whenever would seem to be defeating the purpose in a major way. Better, I think, to try and develop new status quos that future X-Men projects in film and television can draw from. And I think that's really an enormous faux pas on the part of Marvel Comics, and not just Marvel. This is a DC problem, an enormous Image Comics problems. Don't even get me started with Image. But specifically when you're talking about superheroes, you're talking about enormous, larger-than-life stories that don't have to take place on Earth. You can go to space, you can go to hell, you can go to heaven, you can go anywhere. You can go to other dimensions that don't even exist, you know, like the negative zone and stuff like that. And when you start thinking about, would this work for film and television, you start getting things kind of like what the X-Men from the Ashes has been, where it's all kind of dumbed down. It's mutants living in a big city, like going to coffee shops and having conversations, rather than going out there and fighting like the Shi'ar Empire and stuff like that, which was like a lot of the foundational elements of what made X-Men great. Yes, X-Men are awesome. Mutants are fun. They got really cool power sets. Certainly they are Earth-based, but they weren't only Earth-based. They could go out and do numerous amounts of things. And certainly, you know, if you look at a book like Phoenix that's in outer space, and if you look at Cable Love and Chrome, that one's doing some pretty crazy stuff. So there are at least a couple of books that are thinking outside of the box. But when you look at the big ones, the ones that they're certainly hoping will be mined for television and movie ideas later on, your X-Men, your Uncanny X-Men, Exceptional X-Men, even Wolverine, it does feel like it's all been dumbed down. These are just kind of stupid movie pitches. And the worst part about it all, you know, he's like, why would we want to go back to 1992? I can guarantee you, when Marvel Studios, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, fully integrate the X-Men into it after Secret Wars, they're going to go back to the X-Men 92 era. because it's the most well-known era of the entire team. It's got almost all the stories of note that people even fucking care about. And I'm not saying that Tom Brevoort should have just reverted it all back to X-Men, in the 1992 era, the circa 1992 or anything like that. But it wouldn't have been a bad idea to make it somewhat similar, but in modern times kind of thing, because that's exactly what Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios are going to do, because they're going to want to make some money off of X-Men. They're not going to want to do the, Krakoan era, which is, it just doesn't work. It is initially a good concept, but it was ruined. There are no classic stories left there other than House of X Powers of 10. And if you read the formatting of that, when you're going into Powers of 10, you're talking about going out 1,000 years into the future with some really bold ideas, which would be a lot of fun to try and convert that into a television movie. But it's not the beginning stages of anything. It doesn't lead into anything that ends up being substantial that you could actually film. So they're going to just go back to X-Men 92. And, it sucks. I think comic books are worse from the lack of creativity and people thinking of set designs. I can even imagine Jed McKay and Gail Simone and Tom Brevoort talking about, what are we going to do? Well, we could turn, the old school into Grey Malkin prison, and we can reuse sets and stuff like that. Things that television producers would be thinking about to save money. And it doesn't serve the medium. Can you imagine if Jim Starlin, when he was writing Infinity Gauntlet, which is one of the most out there, bonkers, bombastic comic book stories of all fucking times, it is kind of sort of unfilmable. Let's be completely honest. Can you imagine if he tried to write that story but was thinking about making it into a movie afterwards? We never would have got a story as great as Infinity Gauntlet. And we never would have got anything like, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, which are obviously strip mined out of there, where you're like, wow, this thing is a little bit too big. Let's bring it down to where it's actually filmable. And I think that's the better way to do it. You go out there and create the biggest, most badass, fun story possible. And if it's good and it's successful and it's popular and people love it, let the screenwriters figure out how they're going to bring it down to the level of comic books. I think that's probably the better way to do it, because comic books are the best storytelling medium in the entire world and don't need to be constrained by the ideas of fucking movie producers and television producers, because you would never get anything as great as Infinity Gauntlet. There's a few other things in this particular Substack newsletter we put out that I thought were of interest. This one I thought was really strange. And hundreds of years in the future, we've got the second issue of Cable, Love, and Chrome by David Pepos and Mike Henderson. This one begins to lay out the table a little bit more for the story that we're actually telling, as opposed to what we've been advertising, which is a little bit different, and it's full of the sort of over-the-top action that any proper Cable story needs to trade in. Now, first and foremost, I just want to put this out there. Cable, Love, and Chrome, pretty fucking fun. It's a good book. If you're looking for an X-Men book, you're a little turned off right now, go check out Cable, Love, and Chrome, and I think you'll be very happy. Now, it is a limited series, unfortunately, but it's pretty darn good. I'm having a lot of fun with it. We'll see what happens with David Pepos trying to redeem himself from the abject failure that was not Frank Castle Punisher, whatever that guy's name was. I've already forgotten it. And then that Savage Avengers run he had that wasn't very good. But I do think the thing he says, we're finally getting into the story that we're telling, as opposed to what we advertised. And I don't think bait and switch is good. If you have an idea or a story that's so cool or groundbreaking that it needs to be under wraps, just don't put out a lot of information out of it, and trust that your story is going to be good. I don't think putting out information that's a bold-faced lie is a good idea. Even in some cases where I think the intention was good, and I don't think it really was here. I think that was just really stupid. They might have changed their mind or something, but you should deliver what you're advertising. But the biggest, most recent example I can think of was actually The Walking Dead. When it ended, they had actually solicited one more issue past that because they didn't want people to know that was going to be the finale. And I still think that's kind of bullshit, even though you wanted it to be a surprise. It's kind of bullshit that you advertised and told people there was going to be another issue. I just think that's kind of lame. And in this case, I think it's kind of lame that you're delivering a story, but it's not the story that you told people that you were going to be delivering. You know what I mean? I don't like the bait and switch stuff. I think you can be honest with your customer, and if it's so cool and so outlandish and so over the top that you don't even want to tease it out there, then fucking don't tease it out. The solicitation can simply be Cable 11 Chrome continues on. Tune in to find out. That can be your solicitation if you don't want to really give people an insight in what you're doing. But I think not telling the truth is a worse way to do it. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. There's another question. They said, I was recently visiting some of the great books from the Marvel graphic novel line from the 1980s and 90s. Do you think something like this could be viable again in today's market and readership? Would a shift in cost or economic circumstances make it attractive for the powers that be to revisit it? And his answer was, we've tried the occasional original graphic novel program from time to time over the years, but the difficulty almost always comes down to underwriting the cost of the material. The last original graphic novels we did were $24.95 hardcovers, and they still didn't quite cover the nut for all the work that went into each one. So I don't see this being a viable format on the regular, though we may continue to experiment with it from time to time as circumstances dictate. And we don't see very many Marvel Comics original graphic novels from Marvel. Now, we certainly see them from other people. Remember, they had the, was it Fantastic Four for Full Circle from Alex Ross that had the Marvel logo on it, but it wasn't a Marvel book. That was actually produced by a book company. It was really, really good. And I believe there's going to be a success. I believe there's going to be a sequel because it was ultimately successful. And there are original graphic novels with the Marvel logo that are very successful, that are produced by like Scholastic for kids and stuff like that. But Marvel seems to have almost entirely given up on the idea. And I hate to do this, and it makes me sick to my stomach. And I'm probably going to vomit after I record this, but I guess Doc was right. Because he and I have had this conversation, and I do believe that there is great promise in cutting down the amount of floppies that go out, and if they're written for the trades and they're meant to be read just as one story, and putting them out in an original graphic novel format. But Doc always says, well, you got to get your money in on the floppies, and then you get a second round of money when you put it out in trades. And that's how they make it viable over the long term. Tom Revord is basically confirming that right there. But I do believe, since the last time they really attempted to do a genuine graphic novel type product, that the market has changed substantially. A lot of the younger readers, their preferred format is graphic novel format, not in floppies. Also, the place where they get most of those books is the bookstore channel and not comic book shops themselves. And there's a form factor that is more preferred, the manga form factor, than what Marvel and DC put out their traditional trades and graphic novels in. I think there is some viability to the idea of doing a smaller form factor, the manga form factor as far as the size of it, don't color the pages, and seeing what happens. But that would take an initiative to do that. You would have to take, resources away from floppies, which are working. They're not making a ton of money, but they're not losing money either. It's working for them. And they do have their little trade program. Although, if you look at the trade sales, Marvel is nowhere to be found because nobody even thinks about Marvel Comics being like a graphic novel publisher, because they don't have any classic stories. There's certainly no modern classic stories. So I do think that if they had the extra resources to try that out, I think they would behind potentially that there could be success, especially if they targeted the bookstore channel rather than solely the direct market. That is just a belief of mine, but we'll probably never know. Although the DC Compact Comics, being in that new form factor, certainly have made some noise, but those aren't original stories. Those are reprints of things that have been popular and been evergreen sellers for literally like 40 years or more, for the most part. And even a few of them are more like 20 years, but still, they've been very, very popular for a long time. But I think it could work. And I do think the market has shifted dramatically, but I don't think they'll do it either. And Doc's probably right. They're not going to take that chance. The last question of note that I found interesting, with her popularity in Marvel Rivals, are we finally going to see the return of Galacta, daughter of Galactus in the 616? There are so many video gamers with so much upsetting fan art that I don't know how you can refuse the clarion call of more Galacta. This is what Tom said. Jordan D. White has been waiting for his chance to do more Galacta ever since he helped to innovate that character years ago. But as the Fantastic Four editor, I have to say that I don't like what the existence of that character does to Galactus. So I am very much in favor of refraining from more Galactic content, at least within the mainstream Marvel universe. And I will say that I wholeheartedly agree with that. Some fucking common sense there on the part of Tom Brevoort. Although I will freely admit, he will say stuff that makes a whole lot of sense and then not do it. like, but you said this. You said the X-Men being killers at the end of Fall of X wasn't a good idea. And then you'll see some of the stuff happening in X-Men. You're like, oh, they're killers again. So he does sometimes do things that aren't exactly in line with what you get within the Substack newsletter. Maybe he changes his mind a lot. But I don't think we need Galacta in the Marvel 616 again. And I'm not surprised it was a Jordan D. White idea. That guy has no good ideas. But we can't just keep taking every established character at Marvel and DC and being like, okay, we've got a white male character. Now we've got a Latina female character. Oh, we've got a black female character. Let's make a Asian male character out of that. We've got a character that people recognize. Let's make another version of that. They're eventually going to have to come up with some new fucking ideas. We can only have so many Spider-Girls. You know what I mean? How many different variants of Spider-Man can you have in one universe? Why would you even want a variant of Galactus in one universe? Galactus represents something that's very, very unique and should remain very, very unique. But in fairness, all of these heroes should represent something that is unique. We shouldn't have Daredevil and then female Daredevil. Yet we still have this like 4 or 5 years later after Chip Zdarsky introduced it. It's a stupid idea. And I wish Marvel and DC would stop doing it because it adds nothing of value to the universes itself. You want to make something new? Make something fucking new. Don't say I've made something new when it's clearly just an analog or a derivative of something that currently fucking exists, but you changed up her outfit a little bit and gave her fucking curly hair. It's not something new, and we're getting way too much of that. Do appreciate your time. If you like what we're doing here on Think Critical YouTube, spotlighting some interesting things like that I don't think you'll see really talked about anywhere else, but here, at least on the YouTubes, and you would like to help us continue that mission, the best place to be is Think Critical Patreon. There's a link in the description. There's also a little button you can push right here to go directly to the Patreon. You find a tier, you get to hear awesome podcasts, more content than you get here on YouTube by far. You get a superhero name, you get to be a part of the family, and we get to keep on trying to save the comic industry. Hope to see you there very soon.
Reuben, come and look, quick.
What is it, boy?
There's this light shot across the sky. Went under the sea, it did, and the sea was all glowing. Over there.
Nothing there now.
Oh, not now, maybe. I told you it went under the sea.
But it could have been a, what do they call them? Meteor.
Weren't far off.
Oh! Sightseeing now, are we? Over to spot some of them bathing bells on the beach, eh?
Well, Vince here's been seeing stars.
Oh! That was impressive. Ah! That was a fantastic 50-50.